Editing is one of the most time-consuming parts of photography. And honestly, it's where a lot of burnout starts. Which brings me to Imagen AI. We actually started using Imagen when we were shooting weddings, but what's been really interesting is how much we're using it now for architecture. Because the reality is, when you're working in Lightroom and you're editing large galleries, whether that's weddings, portraits, or interiors, it can take hours, sometimes days. And Lightroom is still one of the best tools we have. It just wasn't really built for speed at scale. If we haven't met, I'm Brenda Bergreen. My husband Mark and I have been professional photographers for about 15 years, and editing has always been a huge part of our workflow. And over time, we've been looking for ways to make that process faster and more consistent without sacrificing quality. So today, I want to show you how Imagen actually fits into our workflow and where it's made the biggest difference for us. But before we jump into the specifics, here's where Imagen fits into the bigger picture. We still use Lightroom as the hub for everything: importing, organizing, exporting. Imagen just steps in during the editing phase and handles a lot of those repetitive adjustments for us. So let's talk through 10 ways we use Imagen AI to help us stop that editing burnout by getting things done faster. Number one is just that, editing hundreds of photos in minutes. So one of the biggest shifts for us has been just how fast we can get through large sets of images. For example, this was a recent project. This is what the images looked like straight out of camera. And this is after running them through Imagen. So instead of going image by image, adjusting exposure and white balance, Imagen applies our editing style across the entire catalog in minutes. This was huge for weddings when we were dealing with thousands of images. And now with architecture, it just helps us move through projects way faster. Basically, once you have an editing profile you like, you can customize edits to large image sets with just a few clicks. And I find this to be such a time saver when you don't have to dial in things like exposure and white balance adjustment. Imagen is quite good at balancing those types of settings across large galleries. And what makes that possible is how Imagen actually learns your editing style, which brings us to number two. What makes Imagen different is that it's not just applying a preset. It actually learns how you edit by analyzing your past Lightroom catalogs, so the edits feel really natural and consistent with your style. And what's nice is that it continues to learn over time. So if your editing evolves, your profile evolves with it. Imagen can be trained initially from a Lightroom catalog of 3,000 edited images, and it can also utilize talent AI profiles if you're still developing your editing style. So it's a great way to learn how others edit images as well. Another option is to build a profile from a preset. This is called a light personal profile. The personalized profile makes Imagen stand out because it is custom to you, not just copying someone else's style. Number three, consistency across large galleries. Another thing we noticed pretty quickly is how consistent everything feels across the full gallery, especially when lighting is changing or we're switching lenses. That's usually where things start to drift. But Imagen adjusts each image individually, so everything still feels really cohesive in the final set. Consistency is one of the hardest but important parts of editing. And Imagen does a great job balancing all sorts of different images into one cohesive set, which is especially helpful for photographers who might be working with another photographer. Regardless of the camera brand or shooting style, you get consistent results. But before you even get to editing, culling is another part of the process that can take a lot of time, which brings us to number four, faster culling. Culling is one of those things that just takes time no matter what I do. And we still like to go through our images ourselves and pick the best ones of a certain thing, but Imagen's culling suggestions are actually really helpful. It does a great job flagging things like closed eyes, missed focus, duplicates. I don't need to be doing that myself. So it just makes that process faster and a little less overwhelming, eliminating those, so I'm starting with less. Imagen's cull to exact number feature helps narrow down large shoots to the best images. And then once you've selected your images, you might start thinking about those smaller adjustments like retouching, which brings us to number five, batch retouching. This was something we used a lot more during weddings. Things like skin smoothing, teeth whitening used to take so much time. So we were more selective about when we used them. Now that it's automated, it's just built into the workflow and a nice added benefit to our clients. It's one of those small things that really add up when you're editing a full gallery. What's really interesting is it doesn't just stop there. It actually keeps improving the more you use it. So that's number 6, AI that improves over time. One thing I really like is that the more you use Imagen AI, the better it gets. As you upload your final edits, it continues to refine your profile. So it's not static, it's always adapting to how you edit. We've had a pretty consistent, true-to-life editing style for many years, but this feature is great for photographers who are still growing and developing their editing skills. And one thing that was really important to us in all of this was that we didn't want to change our entire workflow, which brings us to number 7, that non-destructive workflow. This is a big one. Imagen doesn't replace Lightroom. It works with it. Everything comes back into Lightroom and you can tweak anything you want. So for us, Imagen gets things to about 80-90% done, and then we can jump in and make any final refinements that we need to, which is a much better place to start than editing every image from scratch. Even things like masking are customizable after the fact, giving you complete control over how your images look. I love that we can focus on those more detailed edits rather than just getting burnt out by adjusting exposure, white balance, etc. on every single image. Imagen takes care of the simple tweaks like straightening, so you can focus on more important refinements to your images. So let's talk about number 8, those architecture-specific tools. And this is where things have really gotten interesting for us lately, especially with our architecture work. Some of the architectural tools have saved us a ton of time. Window pull automatically detects and darkens exposure on bright windows. Perspective correction fixes those vertical lines, no more misshapen lines if my camera wasn't perfectly level. Mark's always is, I struggle a little bit more. HDR merge, it balances the interior exposures, making the images look clean with minimal effort. And sky replacement. We use this sparingly personally, but when clients want it, it's great to have. So these are all things we can do manually, and they can be pretty time consuming. But now they're just part of the workflow, taking our images to the next level with so little effort. Which brings us to number 9, saving hours of editing time. When you step back and look at all of what we're talking about together, the biggest impact really comes down to time, especially for photographers who shoot high volumes of images. Less time editing means faster delivery for clients, more time shooting, or just more time away from the computer. And honestly, that's a quality of life improvement. And this can be a huge benefit for your business because clients love getting galleries delivered quickly. Everyone is used to that instant gratification of iPhone photos, so I strongly recommend you try Imagen and deliver your images ASAP. And when you're not buried with editing, you can also take on more work and make more money doing what you love. So number 10, keeping Lightroom at the hub of your workflow. So even with all of that we just talked about, one of the things that we really appreciate is that Lightroom is still the center of our photo workflow. We still are using and really need our catalogs, our collections, our ratings, our folders. We have a huge archive, like over 300,000 images that we've organized over the years, and we need to be able to find them quickly, and nothing about that has to change. Our editing workflow stays familiar. Imagen just speeds up the editing part of the process. It expedites the editing process so you can spend more time behind the lens instead of tweaking sliders. So overall, Imagen hasn't replaced our workflow, it's just made it a lot more efficient. For us, Imagen has really been about simplifying the editing workflow and getting us out of Lightroom faster, especially as we've shifted into more architectural work. Those time savings have added up in a big way. If you want to try it out for yourself, you can start with 1,500 free edits using the link in the description. And if you do try it, I'd be curious to hear how it fits into your workflow. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.